together. Noah, I have a question for you. What kind of toys do you like to play with? Not electronic things, but do you build with anything, or do you have any puzzles, or what have you got? Oh, cool. Tell me about the magic trucks. They go super fast. And what else? They glow in the dark. How awesome. All right, so you have one of those? You just have one? 2, 3, 4. Cool. Do they have names and stuff? Are they colors or colors? Cool. What colors? Red and blue. How awesome. Neat. And they go and they zoom and they stuff. They transform? No. Okay. Cool. All right. Neat. And where do you keep those? In a bin. Oh. Sometimes are they scattered all over the house? Oh. How do you who finds them? You or grandma, or who? You find them. How do you find them? You go looking for them? Where do you have to search? Under your bed or behind something? Or in the couch. That's where they get all the time. In the couch. Really cool. Well, today was a story about Jesus and his friends, Peter, James, and John, and Andrew, and the rest of them, and they were searching for something. Now, of course, James and John and Andrew were all fishermen. That was actually their business. Now, does anybody like to go fishing? Or do you like to go fishing, or do you like to go catching? Fishing. There's a difference, right? Right? Fishing can be just an excuse to get out and go away and be by yourself, right? And it could be hours and you're just fishing. If you happen to catch something and bring something home, that's pretty cool. Or maybe you throw it back or whatever, but the fishing is the searching, is the waiting, is the looking. So Jesus and his friends were searching for fish. Now, of course, the guys, that was actually their business. They would bring the fish, they would bring it to the market, they would make money and all that. And that was pretty cool. In fact, they had done that all night long. And they caught zilch, nada, nothing. And they knew that the best time to actually go fishing was overnight in the middle of the lake. But Jesus is there in the boat, and he was teaching the people. He was giving his little sermon, telling his stories and everything. And he asked Simon to out farther and to fish again, in the same place where they had just been. Now, how many times, Noah, do you look for one of your magic trucks and it's not there? And you go back to the same place and look again and find it? I do that with things like my glasses and stuff. I know. I have looked under that cushion in the couch and they were not there a second ago. But I go back and look in the same spot and they're there. How does this happen? So Jesus asked his friends to fish again in the same spot. And hear the little tone, the tone in Peter's voice. Yes? The headphones, right. Exactly. They were not, but then you found them. And I can hear the tone in Peter's voice, a little annoyed at this preacher guy who's telling them to do their job better. And he said, okay, all right, if you say so, we'll do this. And whoa, the catch was so big. The nets, and these are their valuable pieces of equipment to run their business, were breaking. And they had to get other friends and other boats to come over and get the fish and bring them in. And Peter was just, astonished. But then Jesus turned it all around and said, you're not going to go fishing for fish anymore. You're not going to go looking for toys and magic trucks, headphones anymore. You're going to look for people. You're going to bring people in. But I often wonder, and this is a question I've been asking myself for a while now. It's why did these early Christians, what I need to search for is batteries, by the way, so I'm holding this. Why did these early Christians get so into this thing that you and I are still here today, 2,000 years later, listening to these stories, following this Jesus, finding inspiration? I mean, it was not a good idea to follow this guy that got executed by the state. And then a whole bunch of other people, because ultimately Peter and James and everybody but John, Paul, the rest of them are all executed. Why? This is not a good group to belong to. The record is not a good idea, but why? Now, I understand after the year 300, when it became legal and became the state religion and everything, it had a whole political power around it, and that's a whole nother lesson. But until that time, why did it even hang on and get so big that the government needed to realize that it was a force to be reckoned with? So I go back to Jesus' sermon right before this incident on the lake. Jesus had preached. There it is. And given them a vision. Remember his first sermon last week we talked about? He got run out of town on a rail. I mean, he got pushed to the edge of the cliff. They were ready to hurl him down and get rid of him because he had such a crazy, amazing message that was transformative. Jesus had a vision, had a clear picture and a dream of a community that was changed, a community where God was actually present in people's lives. People were actually inspired and not downtrodden. People were encouraged. Folks that were not listened to were listened to. People who were ill, who were hungry, who were broken, who were mistreated, were now in charge, were listened to, were followed, were affirmed, were welcomed, were given grace. And people thronged to find such a community where they would have a voice, a vision. We've been talking about a vision. And the clearer the vision is, the more assuredly you'll get to it. The more you have a concrete picture. Do you have any architects in the house? Anybody that likes to draw? Anybody that designs? Anybody that builds? Anybody that cooks? Anybody that follows a recipe? Anyway, yeah. Are you free-spiriting kind of? See, I am not a baker. Because a baker, you kind of have to, it's chemistry. And you got to do what the recipe says. Because ask my children and my partner, well, not all the time, but sometimes, especially the rising and the falling kind of thing, it just it don't work. The chemistry don't work if you don't have a clear picture of the recipe. That's why I like to cook and not to bake, because I can always throw in different things and become something else. But if you want the cake to rise, if you want the frosting to peak, if you want it to be sweet and not salty, you got to follow the clear vision of what it's going to become. A vision, a passion for who we are and who we're going to be is so essential for us to move forward. The clearer the vision, the better it is. The more clarity, the more we are directed in our daily thoughts and actions about what to do and how to do it. We can't do everything, friends, in our lives and in our congregation, but we can do a few things, and we can do those things well. Jesus called merchants, and Jesus called bankers, Jesus called scholars and learned people, Jesus called women, Jesus called those who were ill, the hungry, the voiceless, and gave them a vision and a passion. So a question that I'd like to ask is, what's your purpose? What's your vision for your own life? What's your passion for your future? And we did some people on the street interviews about that. And I think Steve's got a video for us that's going to ask that same question. We're going to cross our fingers. And yeah, here we go.
What is your purpose in life?
I don't think I have one.
What is your purpose in life?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Have you ever thought about it before?
Nope.
You've never thought about it?
Nope. Not at all. Haven't spent any time on it.
You haven't spent any time thinking about what your purpose is in life?
Not recently. Should I be?
Well, you tell me. It's your life.
No, I haven't spent any time on that. I just go day to day. That's just it.
What is your purpose in life?
I really haven't put that much thought into it.
Why not?
I don't know, I'm just trying to have a good time.
What is my purpose in life?
You gotta give me time to think about
Okay,
that
think
one.
about it.
Get through it, don't kill anybody.
Just keep doing until I get it over with.
Just be happy.
It's just to be happy.
I think that I should have fun and be happy.
To be happy and make my family happy and my boyfriend happy and just be happy.
I don't really feel that I'm here to do anything in particular. I mean, it's not like I think that I'm destined to do something or be someone or something like that. I'm just kind of going through the routines, you know, as society's laid it all out for us.
I feel like I have a purpose to help preserve, conserve the beauties of nature.
Hopefully leave some sort of legacy.
To contribute to the betterment of mankind.
Tell me what your purpose in life is.
Go to work, go home, live. You gotta, I got a purpose. Everybody got a purpose on earth, but I ain't found my purpose out yet.
To live a long life and to be prosperous.
What's my purpose in life? My purpose in life is to be successful.
To be successful and to lead a happy, fulfilling life.
To provide well for my family.
I want to be a really powerful woman. Build my career built in financial area.
Do you think that you have a purpose?
Not necessarily. I think purpose is just to do what you want to do. Go out and live life and have fun.
Yeah, I think everybody has a purpose in life.
And what would that purpose be for you?
I'm not sure yet.
What is your purpose in life?
My purpose in life is basically to live the best life I can and to help others and be there for my friends and my family.
How do you know that that's your purpose? Where does that come from?
It comes from within my heart and my head.
How do you know having fun is your purpose?
I don't know. I mean, that's just personal philosophy. Get it from what I think, that's it.
How do I know this is my purpose? What kind of question is that?
Boy, I think you gotta start drinking before you talk about that, really.
What is your purpose in life?
My purpose in life, I am deeply rooted in the Christian faith, and my purpose would be to glorify God in all that I do.
Do you have a purpose in life?
No.
Have you ever thought about it before?
Guess I've thought about it a little, but it scares me, so I don't.
What do you mean it scares you?
I don't know, I just like to more concern myself with living day to day, having fun.
And that's it?
That's pretty much it.
I mean, yeah, more or less, we're just going through the motions here, and, you know, you do what you feel like doing. I don't think there's anything really pushing or pulling us in any direction. And, you know, it ends whenever your life ends.
What drives you to go to tomorrow? Many people are weighed down with difficulties and fears and frustration. Some people are just trying to make it a subsistence life. And for them, it's difficult to make it to tomorrow, to have enough food, to have enough shelter, just to get there. But for most everybody in the room and in the sound of my hearing here, that's not quite where we are. But we get consumed with the things that are not going right. We get consumed with what frustrates us. We get burdened and we wonder if I could just make it to tomorrow. But then that's a life filled with just making it to tomorrow. Folks who have a vision, a clarity of why they're on the earth, why they get to breathe the oxygen, why they get to occupy the land, why they are allowed to have food, have something to get up for in the morning, have some reason to go out and take care of themselves and take care of others. We have said together that our purpose is to create a beloved community. And I'm challenging us to clarify that vision, concretize it, make it more and more specific so we can actually see it and get to it or head toward it. Because it certainly is a vision that will be accomplished in the next lifetime. But you and I are working on it here today. But I wonder, do we have a gift, a purpose, this congregation in this city of Gloversville in Fulton County? Do we have a purpose for existing in the world today? Is there a gift that we have to share? Is there a problem that exists in our community that we are called to be part of the solution and not part of the problem? Do we care about something that others care about and that we want to be part of making things better? Do we honestly believe that we have part of the answer? Jesus was really clear about his vision for the realm of God. In that sermon before, he said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim a release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set the oppressed free, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Now, if you were excited about helping people see, helping people find nourishment, helping people find freedom, you latched on to this prophet and wanted to be part of what he was doing. It was attractive. It was hope-filled. It was empowering. Honestly, we look around at our old denominational churches, and we've been singing the old songs and reading the old words and sitting in our old pews, and we kind of wonder, where's everybody else? And where did they go? And I think in some measure, we've lost a bit of our way. We've lost the appeal of our message because folks out there think our message is to just keep it going like it is. And they're wondering if we're listening at all. There's oftentimes in congregations, we don't like to talk about so many different things. And for some congregations, their answer to everything is just believe in Jesus and life gets better. But there are people, there are young people outside these walls that are talking about everything, that are living in a world that has challenges of drugs, that has challenges of abuse and neglect, that has challenges of hopelessness, that has challenges of racism and prejudice, that has challenges of just growing up is hard. And I think you and I have a gift, have a hope, have a vision that God actually has some answers for all of those challenges. The question is, how can we keep telling the story in a way that engages folks who are out there living challenged, hard, scrabble lives, and letting them know that God is here for them. And in fact, they are part of God's plan. We are called to live a life that matters, live a life that makes a difference in the world. That, to me, is exciting, not just making it to tomorrow, even with the struggles and the burdens we have. We are called to live a life that is not alone, a life that is, in fact, together, community. And so you and I have chosen to call it the beloved community, a life that is not lived where I have to figure it all out on my own, and I have to do it well and perfectly and right, and I can't let anybody know I need help. The beloved community says, I can say I need help. The beloved community says that I'll listen to your answer. The beloved community says that sometimes I'll be quiet. The beloved community says that sometimes I'll really screw it up and do it wrong, but I'll get up and try again. The beloved community says that it's okay if you don't do it perfectly next time. We'll get together and make up the difference. The beloved community says that there are voices I've never heard and never understood because they live a life that is different than mine, but I want to know and understand and hear and imagine. I hope that all of you have taken the diversity survey. Right, Chris? Is that due this Friday, last Friday? Now. And that was a question about who you are willing to have as your next pastor. But my question is to turn that around and say, who are you willing to have as your next parishioners? Asking the same questions. And I just wonder, I love the architecture of this sanctuary. That for the most part, except for that pulpit, it is so totally accessible. Now, the front door has a challenge, and we're up to that challenge of getting it so that it will open for anybody. But I just would like you to imagine with me a little bit. Imagine that 6 folks who have limited physical abilities come in their wheelchairs and wheel themselves down here. One of those people turns right around and she starts preaching. Another person turns around and is your deacon for the day. How many? That leaves 4. And the others are singing and worshiping together. Now, for you and for me, that's an easy one because this sanctuary is absolutely accessible. But I'm wondering, how do we purposefully search for a beloved community and let everyone else out there know that they would be welcome in their crutches or their wheelchairs or their scooters, that they could come? And that's only one class of people. How can we get the word out to say that whoever you are, whatever your experience and perspective, that we want to hear it, we want to see it. We had an amazing time with the Martin Luther King service in the last 2 years, and it's been really cool hearing so many different voices from our city that have shared with us a vision of a more beloved community. We started to build a relationship or build on the relationship with our sisters and brothers and our siblings up the street at the Amy Zion Methodist Church. And I would wonder, what would it be like if we went to worship on a Sunday morning with Pastor Bob and his congregation and enjoyed worship with them? What would it be like if we hosted them and they came and taught us and we heard their stories and their testimonies and we built bridges and friendships and realized that we were both welcome in each other's sanctuaries, in each other's lives? Can you see that beloved community? Can you get passionate about making those kind of connections to your neighbors? Recovery of sight to the blind, opening the ears of the deaf, setting free the captives and people that have been imprisoned. One of the challenges of Christianity has been this understanding of doing things well and doing things rightly and perfectionism. The scripture for this Sunday that we did not read together, but we sang together, how many know in their heart the tune of Holy, 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 one of the opening songs we started with, right? Well, you know that's about a vision that Isaiah saw, a vision in the heavens of God ruling the world. The challenge is that that vision, the amazing thing is that that clear vision of God in charge of everything came to Isaiah after a calamity. For 52 years, King Uzziah had been ruling the people of God. 52 years. How long has Queen Elizabeth been on the throne? 55? That's 75? All right, longer than I can remember. And we don't understand that she has a lot of power or anything. But King Uzziah ruled the land. And all of a sudden, there was that entire political, economic, social upheaval of he was gone. And Isaiah and all the rest of the people were kind of like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to all of us? This is crazy. Who's going to be in charge? Who will protect us from our enemies? Who will ensure that we have jobs and food? And wow, he was just shaken to his foundations, and that's what he saw in the world around him. And all of a sudden, he had a vision. And the vision was this wild vision of this heavenly throne room with a figure of power and energy and light sitting on the throne. No human description of it, just light and power. And then these amazing creatures that were hiding their eyes and the others that were shouting, holy. And that God, that vision of power ruling the entire world, spoke to Isaiah and said, I need you. He had a clear vision that even though, as far as the world was concerned, things were a bit in chaos, that God was still on the throne. Our vision of a beloved community says that even though the world is in chaos, even though people are in desperate need, we believe that love is still on the throne. We believe that love still transforms our lives and gives us a purpose so that we can look down the road years from now and say, a greater, more loving, more welcoming, more voice to the voiceless community was birthed because we stayed true to the vision. The other thing a vision does, just like a recipe or like a building plan, it lets you say no. It lets you say, we ain't going to do that because that's not part of the vision. If your vision is to build a log cabin, you're not coming in with marble and bricks. You're coming in with logs to build a log cabin. There's a bunch of stuff you say no to because it's not part of your log cabin vision. Because you want this log cabin on the side of a mountain, and it's going to have a fire pit, and it's going to have a loft, and all these things. And that's what you want, because that's your vision. Well, then it's not going to be filled with glass and steel and concrete. That won't get you a log cabin. It just won't. So if our vision is for a beloved community, that means every time the council and leadership group meets, every time the trustees make a decision, every time the deacons gather together, every time the office is something, every time Fortnightly is doing something, we ask ourselves the question, is this building a beloved community? Is this giving voice to the, is this giving welcome to the marginalized? Is this getting us to get out the word? Is this transforming lives in love? Now, that sounds serious. It doesn't mean that we can't just have fun, because I hope that a beloved community is a place of fun and friendship and joy. But it means it keeps bringing us back to our center as we clarify our vision and our goals. And I think one of the greatest things that our culture lacks is an awareness and an appreciation and a gratitude. We have so much. To just be present in the moment and say, God, thank you. I really do. I really do have so much to appreciate, and to appreciate other people and their perspective and their point of view. That there's another human being there, and be aware and be thankful and appreciate. I think that changes everything. And lastly, there's a great quote that I like. First, this surprised me. This is from George Bernard Shaw, that we know as a writer and a musician. And he says, this is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose, being recognized by yourself as a mighty one, and being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown out on the scrap heap. Being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to make me happy. I am of the opinion, Shaw writes, that my life belongs to the community, and as long as I live, it's my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch, which I've got hold of for just a moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. And lastly, I want to leave you with this. Hunter Thompson writes, life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. I invite you and me to be on such a ride with God and with each other, that it's exciting, it's purposeful, it's invigorating, and other people want to be a part of it. For you and I are called to catch people and bring them closer to God. Thanks be to God, and amen.